Hello my loves, I'm Ellie Frost. Thank you so much for being on this channel where we are talking about the multi-dimensional approach to rapidly and radically healing and transforming during and after narcissistic abuse. And this video is about why it's so important not to compare ourselves to other people, right? When we've gone through this cycle or however many cycles of narcissistic abuse you may have gone through. Let me go into this. It's the holiday season and I'm really aware of what comes up for all of us, especially, when we've been through narcissistic abuse at this time of year. It can be stressful and there's a lot of pressure and joy available to everyone. But it's a time where we're more likely to compare ourselves to our peers, right? Because there's Christmas parties, gatherings, meeting up with people. And it's very, very common to feel like people of whatever age group you are further ahead than you. Yeah. And narcissistic abuse is a cycle of complete destruction often. Yeah. Destruction emotionally, mentally, financially, and spiritually. They aim to destroy. It's a destructive energy. And so we can find ourselves starting over, right? And maybe over and over again. Could be just in our 20s, could be in our 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, or 70s, or 80s. I have clients who span all age groups, right? So wherever you sit on that, yeah, it's so hard sometimes not to feel, well, I've talked before, there's a video on healing the injustice trauma, because it's really hard sometimes, instead of seeing the fact of how far we have come given what we went through individually, which other people may not understand, we can feel behind and less than and embarrassed, yeah, that our life hasn't taken off in the way we wanted it to and looks very different sometimes to the people around us who may have been able to build solid relationships, solid finances, solid families, right? Solid foundations. That if you've been through narcissistic abuse, I mean, the narcissist aims to cause chaos and destruction in your life, right? If you've come on the other side of that, you've got to give yourself some credit. Yeah, I'm talking to myself as much as all of us here, because it's a message for me and you. Sometimes in these videos, I said I make these videos for you from my heart, and I also make them from me. Every past version of myself going through the cycle, and the version of me now that still needs to hear stuff sometimes, all the time, a lot of the time. So at this time of year in particular, it's really hard not to compare ourselves to other people because we're around them. And we can feel that we're being sort of duped by life. And we can also feel angry and annoyed at ourselves sometimes that we're not further ahead. Yeah. But unless you've been through narcissistic abuse, you probably would not understand it, not like someone who's been through it, and how much it can destroy someone's life. Yeah. When we're emotionally wounded, and traumatized, it stops our manifestations. That's why the end of Sovereign, the last module, is all about manifestation. I also have another channel called @Manifest with Ellie Frost, where I teach people manifestation, so you can manifest now in your life. Create from where you are with what you've got. Where you are is where you are. It's all you've got, right? But if you learn how to create and manifest and heal trauma, so Sovereign is a very, very good program and community for healing trauma and manifestation. And the Live Fully Now membership that I have is just about deep dive manifestation, talking deeper about the things I talk about on my other channel that helps you create what you want in your life. But it still can be very disappointing when we feel we haven't got what other people have got, especially when it comes to stability, because the narcissist hits you hard on stability, emotional stability, financial stability, mental stability, right? It's a complete roller coaster ride, and all of those things generally, if you've been with a narcissist, are leveraged against you. So not everyone. I've got clients who are financially absolutely okay after the cycle. They were lucky enough not to have been financially abused, but I also have worked with many that, and I had been, that were financially abused, and that forms certain beliefs around money in our subconscious. And I'm going to do more on money and our relationship with that. I have got a course on that called Money Magic, but on the at Manifest with Ellie Frost channel as well. Because rebuilding our relationship with money is very, very related to our relationship with ourselves. And these cycles absolutely put us into a poverty consciousness, a fear consciousness, and out of our power. Everything to do with money responds to power. We think people with money have power, which is true, but people with power attract money. And when you're disempowered, you're less of a energetic match in the universe to more abundance, you see. When we are definite about ourselves and confident in ourselves and confident in our decisions, we can attract money more easily. I do talk about that. I've got a whole course on it, and I will be talking more about that on the Manifesting channel. So, and of course, a lot of people value people in society, not from how much of a, beautiful person they are, but what they've got. We live in a society that puts a lot of pressure on us to, we're judged by the size of our car, size of our house, and what car we drive and what job we do, rather than the quality of our hearts, right? We live in that society. So these times of year, it can be really challenging, because especially like New Year and stuff as well, it kind of brings up all the things we haven't achieved as well as the things we have. So we've had a year where we feel like we've done a lot and we've got a lot and we've done really well. That's great. But for many people going through these cycles, it brings everything to a head, right? And it can make us feel, actually, especially when we feel like we have to explain ourselves, right, to people who are asking, it can make us feel less than, yeah? Because if we've been through these cycles, we may not be in the position we want to be, right? Might still be healing, might still be rebuilding, might still be in the cycle, yeah? I'm thinking of doing a sort of PDF that I'm going to put up as well, and I haven't got it yet, but look out for it. Read the description box, because I was thinking, I did a couple of videos on how to shut a narcissist down, and yesterday I talked about how to deal with the narcissist in the holidays. If you go to the end of that video, I give you some communication tips, but phrases and words and ways in which you can, sometimes you can remove yourself or go to the restroom. I used to do that a lot, just go to the bathroom and time myself out to get out of the situation. But I've also got some really good ways, things you can use in conversation that diffuse conflict. So it just basically deters the narcissist from talking to you or keep digging at you. Statements you can say in your power that will actually close the conversation down, but not in a abrupt kind of aggressive way, just in a, someone said something and you sort of said, oh, that's an interesting idea. It's one of the statements I teach people to use as a diffusing statement, even if someone is digging at you, like, I don't think that business will work, or I don't think that relationship will work, or I don't think, whatever. You can say that's an interesting idea and stay neutral. It diffuses the energy, because the narcissist is always looking to ignite your emotions in a negative way, get you riled up. Yeah, and if they build you up, they're only going to crash you down, you see. So even if they do seem to be love bombing you, they put you up to pull you down. So that's how trauma bonds are formed, and that's why we go in such an emotional roller coaster and find it very hard to feel stable and create stability, because we've been on a constant roller coaster ride for so long emotionally. We expect it to go wrong. We expect the highs and the lows rather than stability and growth, right? Which is what we want ultimately. And I'm going to do more on that too. So yeah, I'm thinking of doing this PDF, and I'll let you know when it's ready, and I'll put it in the links, so that you could perhaps download that and have a sort of cheat sheet of just ideas, right? So you've got some ammunition that, like, if people are, even if they're not narcissists, they're just people that are maybe, not being very helpful in and making you feel bad, even intentionally or not, that you can just shut the conversation down in a nice way that just kind of closes it off, and you can go on to another subject, right? So I'll give you some communication tools. I think it's really important, but please know you're not alone, right? Please comment. Please, if you need to reach out in the comments. Join Sovereign if you can, because that's a great community, and I'm sure it's this time of year that we probably need things like that the most. I think December, if you're thinking of joining Sovereign, it's not an expensive course to join. You get access and support to it. And honestly, like, this time of year, don't put yourself unsupported if you need the support, because there are very few people that really understand this. Like on the internet it's great because there's more people that do, but in our immediate vicinity, often even like, you know, friends we've known from school and, you know, other people in our lives, we might have been isolated from them by the narcissist, or we might have isolated ourselves from them from sheer embarrassment. Or I've done that before, where, you know, we feel ashamed perhaps. I'm not saying that's how you feel, but I know I have felt ashamed of, you know, thinking my life should have been further ahead, and, you know, because I went through these cycles, just the amount of loss I went through, and how it impacted me in terms of my ability to form stability in my own life, which I'm still working on. I'm still working on to this day, but at least I know how to, and at least I know I've put a firm foundation in place, you know. So yes, you're not alone. This is not a time to allow yourself to be compared to people who have not been through what you've been through, right? Because narcissistic abuse is one of the most difficult things we can go through on this planet. Yeah, some people don't survive it, literally. I mean, we can go into that, but I suppose you can read between the lines of what I'm saying. Some people do not survive this, and if they do, they're a fraction of themselves. So if you're here, I know you're ready to live fully now. So that's a membership you could join if you wanted to, and you want to claim yourself, and you want to claim your power, and you want to have a place in this world, which you do belong here, by the way. You belong on this planet, and if you're in this community, you definitely belong here with me. There is a place for you in this planet, and there is more life. No matter what age you are right now, there is more life can give you, and there's more life to live, no matter how devastating a situation may seem, or sticky, or complicated. A lot of people go through a lot of court stuff with children and custody and all sorts of things. The narcissist will use authorities against you. Yeah, even still, there's a beautiful life waiting for each one of us. Yeah, the more we step into our power, the more we choose ourselves, the more we choose our sovereignty, the more we break the psychic bonds and ties, and don't shame ourselves, right? Actually, if someone tries to shame you or embarrass you or whatever, they can't unless you feel somehow guilty, haven't forgiven it, haven't forgiven yourself, you know what I mean? Haven't let go of that shame. Shame actually dissolves in the light, right? The things we're ashamed of, sometimes if you come to a safe space, like in my containers, sometimes when we just share it, you know, it eases it up. You know, shame lives in the dark. It grows in the dark sometimes when we want to keep it to ourselves, and sometimes it just takes us being willing to own it with safe people, or even just to ourselves, and let it go. Forgiving ourselves, forgiving the situation, having compassion for ourselves, for the things we might have done and said that was so out of character, right? During these cycles, it can be so out of character for us, and that's why we feel so lost sometimes, right? Because we've really abandoned ourselves. But you can claim yourself back at any minute, because your heart's still beating, and there are things in your heart that you know to be true, values, ideals, things that you are at core. Yeah, and you will find that part of you, right? Even if you did feel lost or not yourself, which is what the narcissist aims to do, to make you feel like you don't matter, and as a unique entity that you don't, or person, you don't exist. You exist to be what they need you to be. Well, there's a part of you that's never been true for. Yeah, so just come home now. Any questions and comments, let me know. Lots of love, and I'll speak to you soon.